much for inviting me here today from the wilds of West Wales, Pembrokeshire to sunny Porthcawl, two great tourism destinations. WriteMedia has worked for Bridgend County Council for many years. Mike Evans and I will be showing our ages if I say how many years. In that time, we've worked together on pioneering projects. Some have been really successful and some could perhaps have gone back to the drawing board. But that's the crux, isn't it? We work in an exciting industry, which is not unlike trailblazing in the Wild West, America, not West Wales. Whether it's in tourism, sport, new startups, established industry, we are all looking to carve out our place in this technological, internet-enabled, information-driven world. Andrew asked me to talk on something digital in tourism that we've been involved with, and the brief is to impress, even wow, the audience, and that's what he said, and that's quite a challenge. I know that app development is a huge area of our emerging market, and if I have time at the end, I'll try and get onto app development so show you some of our work for Bridgend County Council and Welsh Rugby Union. However, firstly, I'd like to touch on areas of development which have been more influential, perhaps this year, in 2013-14, on our workflow in that period than app development, actually, for us. And so it's involved CSS and responsive web development. That's been a big thing for us this year to supply for our clients, and also SEO and e-commerce. So they've been quite big challenges, although, as I say, we have been involved in app development. Starting, therefore, with responsivity, responsive web design. For tourism particularly, I believe that it's been a very influential development for many of our clients, from councils to trade associations, tourism, theme parks, accommodation providers, guest houses. They've actually decided in many instances to divert funds away from app development and put them into a responsive website. I would say that in 2012-13, developers like ourselves, for many of our clients, had to offer an app to get a mobile presence, or alternatively, offer a mobile-friendly version of the main website. We now find, however, that we can deliver responsive solutions, and clients are happy to offer the whole website bundle with mobile-friendly navigation through burger menus, etc., rather than having a cut-down version of their website, which only delivers like the top few features. Also, we no longer feel that we have to sell the notion of app features to get a mobile presence. I mean, it's horses for courses. It's what you need in your business. But we have found that features such as user-generated content, which may be relevant to apps, such as I will describe later in, say, work that we've done for the WRU, yes, they do have a presence, but in the past we've kind of featured very heavily on them because we wanted to give this kind of mobile presence for our clients. But actually, in some instances, and again, as I say, it's horses for courses and it's what suits the business need, but actually in some instances, they are cumbersome for the day tripper and for the destination to deliver upon. So in some instances, I mean, particularly, obviously, some of the things that provide a bit of a block on that is Wi-Fi is probably one, and connectivity is one of the biggest barriers, and something that was touched on earlier, and I really admire what you've done in the Llandudno project. But for where we're working for some clients, for example, tourism associations, getting the content is very, very difficult. So you actually end up with quite an empty app environment and disappointed expectations. For example, we found that we did an app, and I'll describe it a little while ago, a few years ago, for Folly Farm. And that was quite difficult for them at the park to actually get the infrastructure in the place to make that a meaningful experience at the park. It works very well in advance of the visit to the park, but it has been quite a difficult challenge for them. Our relationship with Folly Farm since 2010 is not uncommented on. In that year, we won various accolades between us, including Best Digital Marketing at the National Tourism Awards and Best Supplier at the Pembrokeshire Tourism Awards, so they were quite heady days. However, Since the first development of Folly Farm's website, we've undergone 3 reskins. It's an ugly term. It sounds like something from a science fiction film, but it does indicate the need to keep investing in the website, which is at the end of the day, often your shopfront to the world. So the first stage of progressive development for your website is to have a site developed which has a robust CMS, and uses CSS templates which contain graphic styling and means that the data and functionality are not interrupted by the integration of a new set of templates for the future. You can see there some iterations on the screen of the Folly Farm website and where it's moved. So you can see in 2009, although it won Best Digital Strategy, blah, blah, it was Flash heavy. It was developed in 2009. And with the arrival of iPhone and iPad, and with no support for Flash, it made it redundant, really. So they had their app, simplistic as it is, and they had their mobile-friendly, cut-down version of a website. Version 2, we had the site stripped down, and as I say, a mobile-specific site was generated, and it had no Flash, and at that point we introduced online ticketing for the park as well. Version 3 was launched 2013, late 2013, and the site is fully responsive to meet today's cross-device needs. And it's influenced itself in a much cleaner, flatter look. So you can see it on its various devices and how it manifests itself, whether it's on tablet, iPhone, or computer screen. So the latest site is responsive, and in fact, the analytics, which are quite fun, if I can see them, show some of the things that this has helped to support drive traffic to Folly Farm's web presence. So in 2012, you can see that we've got 6,653 people coming to the site from a phone. Tablet was about 13.5%, and you can see how many people were hitting the site on from a computer, laptop, or PC. And if you look at the figures for 2014, you can see that we've over doubled people coming into the site from a device. Tablet use now accounts for 22.8%, and the total views have gone up from 28,000 to 39, nearly 40,000 in total. So basically, I'll just describe them a bit better. In 2012, we've got 63% of the viewers are coming in through a computer, and 13% are coming in through a tablet, and 23% are coming in through a phone. So the total figures coming in through a phone are 6,000 out of 28,000 views in total. By the time we get to 2014, we've got a big change, because coming through a phone, we've got, from a total of 39, nearly 40,000 total views, as 14,500 of those are coming in through a phone. So it's increased traffic, but it's also meant that we're there to meet the needs of how the public want to visit Folly Farm's website. Other sites, because we work for a vast array of clients, different sizes, as I say, from guest houses to theme parks to tourism associations. So another site which has benefited from responsivity, which I'm very proud of, there's a guest house in Pembroke Dock near us. They've had a modest website presence. They had it on a good CMS with CSS style sheets. So when they came to a seminar like this and heard about responsive websites, they came to see us. We were able to change their website. But it makes the point that, it doesn't need to be a huge investment for a small guest house provider. It's still very, very relevant to get that mobile presence through a responsive website. Pembrokeshire County Council, we produced their Visit Pembrokeshire website this year. The main features of the website are that it is responsive. CMS, the users have total control over the search engine optimization from URL management and redirects. content control for every page. It's very much content-led as a website and has a kind of a blog sort of feel to it and the possibility for very regular updates. The inclusion of Pembrokeshire County Council in this presentation moves me on to search engine optimization, which was another milestone for us in 2013-14. Development of a destination management website for tourism, they're not without their challenges. And since 2012, we've undertaken 3 major tourism websites associated to councils. Bridgend Bites being the first, followed by the Valleys, which represents some 12 councils. And this year, as I mentioned, Pembrokeshire County Council's Visit Pembrokeshire website. In the 3 years working on these similar and yet totally dissimilar projects, we've encountered challenges and rewards. And each has had its own requirements in terms of tone of voice, targeted audience, the social media strategy, the SEO, and each has had a very different slant on how they've wanted to tackle those areas. Mostly in 2013-14, we, in collaboration with Pembrokeshire County Council, developed a website which I would say was driven by the SEO. That was the first thing that was considered. We know there are different approaches which we can take towards search engine optimization. And we have deduced, as a development company and not a search engine optimization expert, that SEO is like a constantly moving goalpost. It needs to be revered and managed, a bit like a bride, and hopefully correctly quoted, a bit like a wedding. Clients and SEO experts will have different slants on the SEO, and we've worked with various consultants who will push available budgets towards off-site SEO, blogging, social media, link building, and in-site SEO, tagged content, redirects, etc. However, our experience in 2013-14 has pushed us into the accommodation that the need for SEO should perhaps be considered in advance of any visuals, CSS, CMS, or .NET development. And in the case of Pembrokeshire County Council, the website was ultimately driven by the IA, which was driven by the on-site SEO. And here's some of the outcomes. Ground-up SEO. There's a lovely slide up there. So what I'm trying to show you here is the site is very content-rich and uses keyword-dense articles targeted to attract groups of users who define their pathway from entry point through the related content on the site. For example, a Google search for castles in Pembrokeshire yields a top Google result as an entry point for that user. From Google then, they land into castles and heritage section of the website. And this is configurable by the user as well as by setting up the redirects should a campaign require a change of targeted keyword. From here on, the content is tailored to the interest, and ongoing, the tailored content will direct the user to carry out one of the following actions. Users can search for castles or heritage using a search pre-configured to show only heritage based on attractions and events. Users can follow one of the relevant links in the keyword-rich page content, and users can engage with the tailored related content. So now we've established that the user has an interest in castles or heritage based on the entry point to the site, or if they have navigated here naturally, we can start serving them content relevant to this interest. Visit Pembrokeshire has a CMS-managed system that facilitates the relation of pages at any level to the other. So that if I'm currently on a page about castles, it would stand to reason that I'd want to read more about them. So we align any articles related to this subject to the castle's landing page. So all the way through, we've got tagged content that is really deep and related to the point of interest. The related content section of the page will now randomly serve any related content aligned to this page. And we randomized it to give it an explorative feel to the process. The content, although still relevant, therefore will always be different. Finally, we want to possibly highlight a non-related topic to the visitor. So one of the related content boxes is dedicated to featured content. So we're also moving them into other parts of the website. There's this powerful social sharing feature that allows VP staff to set up predefined images and content to be posted on social media channels when a visitor shares a page. I remember about 3 years ago being at an event, and I heard a colleague of many of ours, Lucy von Weber, discussing in a conference the need to get involved with e-commerce. And she was talking to a lot of the smaller guest house and smaller businesses and hotel providers. And I know this is a challenge for many businesses in tourism, but it does need to be constantly monitored and evaluated. I know it's not for everybody, but Andrew asked me to suggest something simple that tourism industry could implement as part of my presentation. And to be honest, there's very little that's of value that's free of charge and ultimately doesn't have to be paid for. But I'm sure if there are any, you'd probably have discovered them before me. But we do have plugins. Mostly we're required to build bespoke systems for online booking and availability management. However, there are some amazing products now out there which will allow you to take on board additional functionality. For example, bookings availability, management, payments online. One plugin we use extensively is the Umbraco T-Commerce for inline shops, which plugs into our Umbraco CMS. That's the content management system that we prefer to use. And for about a day after configuration, we can build the connection scripts to your merchant bank. I'll give you 2 examples quickly where online payments have changed business parameters hugely. Have I got my green Post-it note anywhere, Maggie? Yeah, got it. During 2013, we decided to take, or Folly Farm decided to take the decision to sell tickets online. The project was not without challenges, but finally it was absolutely the right decision for them. For Folly Farm, we built a bespoke online ticketing system which enabled them to sell tickets through the website and to redeem through their point of sale in the case of tills on entry to the park. We use barcode technology for this. I'm not going to go into stats, but we did find last year that 96,000 people were moved through the shop to the shop via the park entrance page on the website. So we really believe that it's, put money into the business, obviously more effectively, and it has driven people, again, to the website and to the shop in the website. But we've also worked with other accommodation providers, such as Lovegroves, as I mentioned before, sort of looking at the polarities, fabulous guest house, and they've also taken on board bookings, e-commerce. They take their bookings online, and in this instance, they've used Avivo's secure booking. So, they're using a pre-made plugin, and it's working really well.